All right, welcome. So, quiz review. So let's go over all the questions from the previous quiz. If you felt like you bombed this quiz, it's not the end of the world. Let's just do it together. So to solve this equation below, remember that we want 0 on one side because we have some sort of quadratic equation. So the first move we're going to do is, let's zoom in a little bit. We do minus 4, right? We're going to get 0 on the right side. So 2x squared minus 3x plus 5 is equal to 0. And remember, anytime you feel like, oh, Mr. G, I'm lost, I'm not sure what to do, how did you do that? Just raise your hand or show me and I'll show you. So from here, can we factor this? And if you try to factor it, it won't be possible. So the only way we could solve this is using the quadratic equation. So this is the quadratic equation. It is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Here are a, b, and c, right? Our a is 2, our b is not 3, it's negative 3. So negative 3, and our c is 5. Okay, so now we got to plug these numbers into here. So x is equal to negative b. Okay, let's put the b in. So parentheses negative 3 plus or minus the square root of negative 3 squared minus 4 times 2 times 5. And this is all over 2 times 2. Okay, so then this is equal to 3, negative times negative is positive, so this is positive 3, plus or minus the square root of negative 3 squared is 9, minus 4 times 2 times 5, this is 40, okay? And this is all divided by 4, okay? But then that's equal to, let's just bring a little arrow over here, okay? But that's equal to 3 plus or minus the square root of 9 minus 40 is negative 31 over 4. Okay? Now here, we can't have negative on the inside a radical. So we then say this is 3 plus or minus square root of 31 times square root of negative 1 over 4. Right? We're taking out this negative 1. Like you have it here, like if I have square root of negative 31, that's equal to the square root of 31 times the square root of 1. I'm sorry, square root of negative 1. But the square root of negative 1, that's equal to I. So then we could just say that this negative radical 31i, I'm sorry, this radical negative 31 is equal to negative, I'm sorry, Mr. G has had a lot of coffee this morning. It's equal to 31i. Okay. So now here, this is equal to 3 plus or minus radical 31i over 4. And that's still equal to 3 over 4 plus or minus radical 31i over 4. And you see how here, if you had this, this was full credit, but this is a complex number because it's some a plus bi. Okay, let's go to the next one. Here, what is the geometric effect of multiplying by a number by I? Remember, if we had this, that if this was, let's say this is I, and this is negative 1, and this is negative I, and this is 1. If I take 1, right, let's say I'm here. I take this 1, okay? What is 1 times, let's say, some I? Right? Well, then that's just equal to I. But then what are you doing? You are going from 1 times I, you're going to I. So that means you're going this way. And now you're at I. Well, okay, let's say you're at I now. Watch, I'm here. I'm at I. Okay, so if I'm at I, right, and now I times it by I, well, now I am equal to, here I'm equal to negative 1. Well, here, let me see. This is equal to I times I is I squared, but that's equal to negative 1. Okay? And then what happens when you do negative 1 times I? You are I cubed, but that's equal to negative I. Here I'm going this way. And what happens if I'm negative I times I am I to the 4th. And now I am, where do I go from here? Then I go back to 1. Okay? You're making this rotation around. So here, what is the geometric effect of multiplying a number by I? You are rotating 90 degrees. Okay? Explain your answer using words or picture. Well, here's a picture. And then confirm your answer algebraically. Well, here you go. Okay, let's go to the next part. If you turn the page, right? All right, so this looks pretty bad. So what I did was I have this for us. This is the back page. And here, let's just examine the questions, okay? Here, it says, let z sub 1, here, we'll just read it together very nice and short. Let z sub 1 equal negative 2 plus I. Okay, so this is z sub 1. It is negative 2 plus I. Z sub 2 is 3 minus 2i. Okay, so we write that here. And it's saying w is equal to z sub 1 plus z sub 2. So we have that here. Now it says find w. Okay, so let's do that first. We're going to first find w, right? That's the first thing. And then the second thing, it says graph. We're going to graph z sub 1. We're going to graph z sub 2. And we're going to graph w in this complex plane. And notice that my complex plane, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. And when we go up, it's not going to be 1, 2, 3. It's going to be I, 2i, 3i. Okay? So let's do this one at a time. So the first thing is, let's calculate w. So w, well, what is w? W is z sub 1 plus z sub 2, right? So it's just saying that you take this z sub 1, which is negative 2 plus I, and you're going to add it with z sub 2, right? It just says z sub 1 plus z sub 2, so this is 3 minus 2i. Okay? That's all you're doing, it's just you're adding. Now here, it's just like what we did back in Algebra 1. Like here, there's that invisible 1, right? So you're distributing a positive 1 to each one of them. So you just have negative 2 plus I. You see, this stays the same. This is going to be plus 3 minus 2i. You see, nothing inside changes because you're multiplying 1 times everything. Then you just have to combine the terms. Here, negative 2 plus 3 is 1. I minus 2i is negative I. And I saw a lot of people make this mistake. Remember, you're on the number line, right? If I say what is, let's say this is 0, right? What is negative 2 plus 3? Well, if I am negative 2 plus 3, right? Plus 3, I'm going 3 to my right. I'm going 3 to my right here. So you start here, then you do plus 3, right? So this is 1, 2, 3. So I'm at 1. And that's how I get that 1 here. What about this minus I? Well, I have plus I minus 2i. That's the same as 1 minus 2. Okay? Take your time. If I'm 1 minus 2, what is it going to be? It's minus 2. It's 2 to the left. So it's just, this is 1, 2. And here I'm at minus 1, which is minus 1i. Okay? But how do we, okay, so we did this part. This is w. W is equal to this. But now we just have to graph the points. What is my z sub 1? Let's see. Z sub 1, oh, sorry. Z sub 1 is negative 2 plus I. So here, if I'm on the complex plane, first I go negative 2. So 1, 2. Then plus I. And then plus I is up. So this is my z sub 1. It's right there. It's just negative 2 plus I. Well, what about this one? This is 3, so 3 is positive, right? So 1, 2, 3. minus 2i, I go down 2. So this is 1, 2. Oh, whoops, sorry. This should say, this should have negatives here. It's not that hard to see, but that should have negatives. Okay. So this is my z sub 2. Okay. And now what about my w? It's 1 minus I. So it's just 1 minus I, which is right here. And that's my w. And these are my 3 points. My z sub 1, z sub 2, and my w. That's it. Okay. Let's look at this one. It says let z sub 1 equal negative 1 minus I. Let z sub 2 equal 2 plus 2i. And what is it saying to do with w? Here, you see before, w says do what? It says z sub 1 plus z sub 2. Here it's saying z sub 1 minus z sub 2. So what are you going to do with these two? You're just going to subtract them. So w is equal to z sub 1 is what? Negative 1 minus I, right? Minus, right? Z sub 2. So it's 2 plus 2i. Okay? Then we're just taking this minus this. But before here, there was a positive 1. So positive 1 times 3 is 3. Positive 1 times negative 2i is negative 2i. So you see everything stays the same here. But when you have subtraction here, the signs will change. So you see this negative 1 minus I stays the same. This becomes negative 2 minus 2i. See, you're doing negative times the positive, negative times the positive. Now we just combine like terms. So I'll just speed this up a little bit. Negative 1 minus 2, that's negative 3. Okay? Negative 1 minus 2i is negative 3i. Okie dokie. A lot of people just made careless mistakes on the algebra here. They did all of this correct, but negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. If you're getting confused on how to add and subtract positive and negative numbers, what I want you to do is give Mr. G a sticky note right now and say, Mr. G, I need help with this, and I will make sure to help you with it, because you got to be good with this. This is elementary, okay? We're in pre-calculus right now. If I say add and subtract these, you got to be good with it, okay? So here, now what do? We have to do what? It says graph it, right? We're going to graph the z sub 1 and the z sub 2. So here, where is my z sub 1? It is negative 1 minus I. So negative 1 minus I is here. That is z sub 1. What about z sub 2? It is 2 plus 2i. So 2 plus 2i, and that's z sub 2. What about my w? It is z sub 1 minus z sub 2. So this is, oh, I'm sorry. That's my w is right here. It's negative 3 minus 3i. So it's negative 3 minus 3i, and that's right here. And that is my w. Okay? So let's keep going. For this problem, it says my z is equal to negative 2 plus I, and my w is equal to negative 2 times z. So if this is my z, what's my w, right? It says find w. Well, w is just equal to negative 2 times z. Well, what's my z? It's just this. So it's just negative 2 plus I. And this becomes w is equal to positive 4 minus 2i. Okay? Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. Negative 2 times I is negative 2i. And if I were to graph this, where is my z? Z is negative 2 plus I. Negative 2 plus I is right here. That's C. Where's W? It's 4 minus 2I. 4 minus 2I down here. That's W. Okay? If you feel like this is very fast, just take your time, pause the video, and go with it. Here, my Z sub 1 is here. My Z sub 2 is here. Here, in this W, it's saying, look, in the first problem, it says we add them. In the second problem, it says subtract them. In the third one, we're just multiplying a negative 2 to the z. This one is saying do what? It's saying multiply them. You're taking z sub 1 and z sub 2 and you're multiplying it. So here, it would be 1 plus 2i, 2 minus I. Okay? Now here, you're going to have to FOIL it. So if I were to FOIL this, 1 times 2 is 2. Right? 1 times minus I is minus I. 2i times 2 is 4i, positive 4i, right? And what is the last one? 2i times minus I, well, let's see. 2 times negative 1, remember there's that negative 1 there, that's negative 2. Then I times I is I squared, okay? But something should be ringing a bell. Here, remember how I said I is equal to square root of negative 1. So if I is equal to the square root of negative 1, what happens if we square both sides, right? If I square this and I square this, then what happens? I squared, what happens with the radicals? They cancel, right? We did that before, they canceled. So I squared is really negative 1. And we also explained that in this picture over here, that I squared is negative 1 when it has the geometric rotation. I times I goes to negative 1. So here we can substitute this I squared into here. So here, 2 minus I plus 4I minus 2 times negative 1. You're substituting that I squared in here. And now here, this becomes 2 minus I plus 4I plus 2. Then we combine the like terms. 2 plus 2 is 4. Minus I plus 4I is 3I. So that is equal to W. Okie dokie. And then what do we do? What do we do next? It says graph the points. What's my Z sub 1 is 1 plus 2I. 1 plus 2I. Boom, that's Z sub 1. Z sub 2 is 2 minus I. 2 minus I. Boom, Z sub 2. What's my W? 4 plus 3I. 4 plus 3I, that's my W. And then bam, I am done. Okay? So here was the quiz review. I hope this helped. What you could do is, I made a replica of the same quiz, just different numbers. Okay, so what I want you to do is, if you completely bomb this quiz, just try and do this quiz over again, and I will try and give you more points instead of having a bombing grade. Okie dokie. Hope this helps. See you.